create jobs in the kind of places that I grew up in. Now, my work taught me that there is still so much talent and grit in the American heartland. There really is. But for these places to thrive, my friends, we need a leader who fights for the people who built this country. We need a leader who's not in the pocket of big business, but answers to the working man, union and non-union alike. A leader who won't sell out to multinational corporations, but will stand up for American companies and American industry. A leader who rejects Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's Green New scam and fights to bring back our great American factories. We need President Donald J. Trump. Some people tell me I've lived the American dream, and of course they're right, and I'm so grateful for it. But the American dream that always counted most was not starting a business or becoming a senator or even being here with you fine people, though it's pretty awesome. My most important American dream was becoming a good husband and a good dad, of being able to give. I wanted to give my kids the things that I didn't have when I was growing up, and that's the accomplishment that I'm proudest of. That tonight, I'm joined by my beautiful wife, Usha, an incredible lawyer and a better mom, and our three beautiful kids, Ewan, who's 7, Vivek, who's 4, and Mirabelle, who's 2. Now, they're back at the hotel, and kids, if you're watching, Daddy loves you very much, but get your butts in bed. It's 10 o'clock. But my friends, things did not work out well for a lot of kids I grew up with. Every now and then, I will get a call from a relative back home who asks, "Did you know so-and-so?" And I'll remember a face from years ago, and then I'll hear they died of an overdose. As always, America's ruling class wrote the checks. Communities like mine paid the price. For decades, that divide between the few with their power and comfort in Washington and the rest of us only widened. From Iraq to Afghanistan, from the financial crisis to the Great Recession, from open borders to stagnating wages, the people who govern this country have failed and failed again. That is, of course, until a guy named Donald J. Trump came along. President Trump represents America's last best hope to restore what, if lost, may never be found again. A country where a working-class boy born far from the halls of power can stand on this stage as the next Vice President of the United States of America. You guys. But my fellow Americans here in this stage and watching at home, this moment is not about me, it's about all of us, and it's about who we're fighting for. It's about the auto worker in Michigan wondering why out-of-touch politicians are destroying their jobs. It's about the factory worker in Wisconsin who makes things with their hands and is proud of American craftsmanship. It's about the energy worker in Pennsylvania and Ohio who doesn't understand why Joe Biden is willing to buy energy from tin-pot dictators across the world when he could buy it from his own citizens right here in our own country. You guys are a great crowd. Wow. And and it's about, our movement is about single moms like mine who struggled with money and addiction but never gave up. And I'm proud to say that tonight my mom is here, 10 years clean and sober. I love you, Mom. And you know, Mom, I was thinking, it'll be 10 years officially in January of 2025, and if President Trump's okay with it, let's have the celebration in the White House. And our movement, ladies and gentlemen, it's about grandparents all across this country who are living on Social Security and raising grandchildren they didn't expect to raise. And while we're on the topic of grandparents, let me tell you another Mamaw story. Now, my Mamaw died shortly before I left for Iraq in 2005. And when we went through her things, we found 19 loaded handguns. They were... Now, the thing is, they were stashed all over her house, under her bed, in her closet, in the silverware drawer. And we wondered what was going on, and it occurred to us that towards the end of her life, Mamaw couldn't get around so well. And so this frail old woman made sure that no matter where she was within arm's length of whatever she needed to protect her family. That's who we fight for. That's American spirit. Now, Joe Biden has been a politician in Washington for longer than I've been alive, 39 years old. Kamala Harris is not much further behind. For half a century, he's been the champion of every major policy initiative to make America weaker and poorer. And in 4 short years, Donald Trump reversed decades of betrayals inflicted by Joe Biden and the rest of the corrupt Washington insiders. He created the greatest economy in history for workers. Really was amazing. There's this chart that shows worker wages, and they stagnated for pretty much my entire life until President Donald J. Trump came along. Workers' wages went through the roof. And just imagine what he's going to do when we give him 4 more years. Months ago, I heard some young family member observe that their parents' generation, the baby boomers, could afford to buy a home when they first entered the workforce. But I don't know, this person observed, if I'll ever be able to afford a home. The absurd cost of housing is the result of so many failures, and it reveals so much about what's broken in Washington. I can tell you exactly how it happened. Wall Street barons crashed the economy, and American builders went out of business. As tradesmen scrambled for jobs, houses stopped being built. The lack of good jobs, of course, led to stagnant wages. And then the Democrats flooded this country with millions of illegal aliens. So citizens had to compete with people who shouldn't even be here for precious housing. Joe Biden's inflation crisis, my friends, is really an affordability crisis. And many of the people that I grew up with can't afford to pay more for groceries, more for gas, more for rent, and that's exactly what Joe Biden's economy has given them. So prices soared, dreams were shattered, and China and the cartels sent fentanyl across the border, adding addiction to the heartache. But ladies and gentlemen, that is not the end of our story. We've heard about villains and their victims. I've talked a lot about that, but let me tell you about the future. President Trump's vision is so simple and yet so powerful. We're done, ladies and gentlemen, catering to Wall Street. We'll commit to the working man. We're done importing foreign labor. We're going to fight for American citizens and their good jobs and their good wages. We're done buying energy from countries that hate us. We're going to get it right here from American workers in Pennsylvania and Ohio and across the country. We're done sacrificing supply chains to unlimited global trade, and we're going to stamp more and more products with that beautiful label, Made in the USA. We're going to build factories again, put people to work making real products for American families made with the hands of American workers. Together, we will protect the wages of American workers and stop the Chinese Communist Party from building their middle class on the backs of American citizens. Together, we will make sure our allies share in the burden of securing world peace. No more free rides for nations that betray the generosity of the American taxpayer. Together, we will send our kids to war only when we must. But as President Trump showed with the elimination of ISIS and so much more, when we punch, we're going to punch hard. Together, we will put the citizens of America first, whatever the color of their skin. We will, in short, make America great again. You know, one of the things that you hear people say sometimes is that America is an idea. And to be clear, America was indeed founded on brilliant ideas like the rule of law and religious liberty, things written into the fabric of our Constitution and our nation. But America is not just an idea. It is a group of people with a shared history and a common future. It is, in short, a nation. Now, it is part of that tradition, of course, that we welcome newcomers. But when we allow newcomers into our American family, we allow them on our terms. That's the way we preserve the continuity of this project from 250 years past to hopefully 250 years in the future. And let me illustrate this with a story, if I may. I'm, of course, married to the daughter of South Asian immigrants to this country. Incredible people. People who genuinely have enriched this country in so many ways. And, of course, I'm biased because I love my wife and her family, but it's true. Now, when I proposed to my wife, we were in law school, and I said, honey, I come with $120,000 worth of law school debt and a cemetery plot on a mountainside in eastern Kentucky. And I guess standing here tonight, it's just gotten weirder and weirder, honey. But that's what she was getting. Now, that cemetery plot in eastern Kentucky is near my family's ancestral home. And like a lot of people, we came from the mountains of Appalachia into the factories of Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Now, that's Kentucky coal country, one of the 10 Now, it's one of the 10 poorest counties in the entire United States of America. They are very hardworking people, and they're very good people. They're the kind of people who would give you the shirt off their back even if they can't afford enough to eat. And our media calls them privileged and looks down on them. But they love this country, not only because it's a good idea, but because in their bones they know that this is their home. And it will be their children's home, and they would die fighting to protect it. That is the source of America's greatness. As a United States Senator, I get to represent millions of people in the great state of Ohio with similar stories, and it is the great honor of my life. Now, in that cemetery, there are people who were born around the time of the Civil War. And if, as I hope, my wife and I are eventually laid to rest there, and our kids follow us, there will be 7 generations just in that small mountain cemetery plot in eastern Kentucky. 7 generations of people who have fought for this country, who have built this country, who have made things in this country, and who would fight and die to protect this country if they were asked to. Now, that's not just an idea, my friends. That's not just a set of principles. Even though the ideas and the principles are great, that is a homeland. That is our homeland. People will not fight for abstractions, but they will fight for their home. And if this movement of ours is going to succeed, and if this country is going to thrive, our leaders have to remember that America is a nation and its citizens deserve leaders who put its interests first. Now, we won't agree on every issue, of course, not even in this room. We may disagree from time to time about how best to reinvigorate American industry and renew American family. That's fine. In fact, it's more than fine. It's good. But never forget that the reason why this united Republican Party exists, why we do this, why we care about those great ideas and that great history, is that we want this nation to thrive for centuries to come. Now, eventually in that mountain cemetery, my children will lay me to rest. And when they do, I would like them to know that thanks to the work of this Republican Party, the United States of America is as strong and as proud and as great as ever. That is who we serve, my friends. That is who we fight for. And the only thing that we need to do right now, the most important thing that we can do for those people, for that American nation that we all love, is to re-elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Mr. President, I will never take for granted the trust you have put in me. And what an honor it is to help achieve the extraordinary vision that you have for this country. Now, I pledge to every American, no matter your party, I will give you everything I have to serve you and to make this country a place where every dream you have for yourself, your family, and your country will be possible once again. And I promise you one more thing. To the people of Middletown, Ohio, and all the forgotten communities in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and every corner of our nation, I promise you this: I will be a vice president who never forgets where he came from. And every single day for the next 4 years, when I walk into that White House to help President Trump, I will be doing it for you, for your family, for your future, and for this great country. Thank you. God bless all of you, and God bless our great country.
Nine-year-old Senator J.D. Vance, not only attending his first convention, speaking to this group of people as the rising star of the MAGA movement. Major Garrett.
Let's distill the economic argument we just heard. Fact: inflation is corrosive to the prospects politically of an incumbent president. Every other statistic in the Biden economy, manufacturing jobs, GDP growth, stock market indexes, all of those things are better than President Trump, but inflation corrodes all of that by reminding Americans that the things that they buy every day in their life are more expensive, whether it's rent, insurance, groceries, or gas. That's the central economic argument of this party and J.D. Vance, and that's a problem for President Biden.
Margaret Brennan, he connected his own difficult upbringing in rural Ohio with the problems that working class Americans feel today. He denounced NAFTA, he denounced the Iraq War, but at the time there were more Republicans that supported those things than Democrats.
There is, and he's saying this is a new party. This is the new brand of Trumpism. And interesting, he laid throughout those mentions of generational problems Joe Biden's name and all the years he's been in there. He's leaning into this idea of generational shift. Also notable, Nora, not here tonight, Mike Pence, the man who previously held the job of vice president to Donald Trump. And up until this Saturday, the most significant act of political violence that this country had experienced was the violent attack on the United States Capitol on January the 6th. And we can't forget that and whitewash that or normalize that. That was it.
Robert Costa, he was raised by his grandma, his single mother, suffered through addiction, is 10 years sober tonight, a moving moment.
And what's that song you hear right now on the convention floor? Don't Stop by Fleetwood Mac, famously the signature song of Bill Clinton's 1992 campaign, where he tried to project a new generation. Senator J.D. Vance trying to do that tonight. I spoke with President Biden recently. I said, what's this election all about? He says, labor, union members. J.D. Vance tonight said, game on.
Thanks to all of you. And that wraps up night 3 of the Republican National Convention. Our coverage continues on CBS News 24/7 and then tomorrow on CBS Mornings. And join us again tomorrow night for the CBS Evening News and more primetime coverage of the RNC right here on CBS. For all of us at CBS News, I'm Nora O'Donnell. Good night.
Show, nominated for 5 Emmys, live after the RNC tonight.
We're back!
It only happens once a year. The 25th annual Marquette Blueberry Festival. With music, arts and crafts, unique food and drink, like blueberry pizza, blueberry crepes, even blueberry beer. This will be a blueberry blast. You and your friends won't want to miss it. Friday, July 26 along Washington and South Front Streets, downtown Marquette. Presented by the Marquette DDA and sponsored by WZMQ TV 19.
Being a caregiver for others takes time, money, and lots of energy. If an elderly person relies on you to provide unpaid help with daily activities, UpCap, a nonprofit charitable organization, is here to help. Our Caregiver Resource Center provides resources and information about workshops, training, and support programs to assist caregivers throughout the Upper Peninsula. Please visit the UP Caregiver Resource Center at upcap.org or dial 211 for assistance.
Are you ready?
It's coming.
I say, are you ready?
The UP State Fair.
Are you ready?
Beginning August 12th.
I say, are you ready?
Be ready for the fun and excitement of the 2024 UP State Fair. Opening night, this year's queen is crowned. Wednesday night, August 14th, it's Tracy Bird in concert. Friday, August 16th is Women's Day and Men's Night. Tickets available at upstatefair.org. WZMQ TV 19. Proud to be a reserved champion sponsor of the fair. Be ready for the fair, beginning August 12th in Escanaba.
More funding for homeless veterans in next year's Michigan budget. How much? Find out tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Blakely.
And I'm Kevin Hodge. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, continuing live coverage of the Republican National Convention. We're live in Milwaukee speaking with UP delegates about what it's like to be in that role.
Plus, we have new details on the 2025 Michigan budget, including funding for projects involving homeless veterans. They're set to see an increase.
And a car show at the Jacobetti Home for Veterans. We'll show you what they had on display earlier today. Your 19 News at 11 starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 11.
Well, it didn't exactly feel like summer out there today.
No, it did not, Sarah. And Air, what kind of temperatures are we looking at tonight?
I mean, it was a cool summer day, y'all. We had to chill out a little bit because this weekend, this evening, though, we're going to be nice and clear for the most part. Most of the Midwest staying out of those rain showers that are headed to the eastboard side there. Temperatures tonight could be dropping down to 45, even down into the 40s. Most of that, though, is going to be along that Michigan-Wisconsin border, so basically Ironwood all the way down to Menominee. And then it looks like we've got some beach days ahead. It's going to be mild tomorrow, but definitely warming up into the weekend. I'll tell you more about it after the break.
Thanks, Air. Only here on 19 News. It's night 3 of the Republican National Convention, and tonight we caught up with a couple of Upers who are delegates at the convention.
And our correspondents Brendan Scanlon and Rachel Knapp join us live from Milwaukee. Guys, I can imagine being a delegate is a one-of-a-kind experience for them.
Hey there, Sarah and Kevin. Good evening. Yeah, well, we caught up with Wanda and Dan up from the UP, and they were very, very excited to be here in Milwaukee for the 2024 Republican National Convention. They told us that they're so far north that sometimes people forget about them up there or tend to overlook them. So they're so excited to be here, helping nominate former President Donald Trump to become the official GOP nominee once again this year. They tell us it's been an incredible experience so far, Rachel.
And it looks like they were having such a great time. I saw Dan on the RNC floor. He was waving around his sign. He was standing up. He was with all the Michigan delegates. It was really fun to kind of watch him kind of be in the moment, really soak it all in, and just have a lot of fun. Here's what they have to say about representing the UP and being a delegate from Michigan.
I started crying. I was so excited. It was like a dream come true. They took me down to the section and led me through, and I got to go to the Michigan delegation section, which was right just a little bit in front of Ohio. So it was really cool. We got to see the Ohio group and then bring in the J.D. Vance nominee.
I'm not up here doing this for myself. I'm actually up here fighting for my child. I have a 7-year-old autistic child, and I worry about his future because, I mean, the way things are going right now, as a father, I'm going to do everything I can to fight for him to make sure that he has the right to actually to thrive and to live his American dream.
Sarah and Kevin, really, they were just so excited to be here and be part of this. I mean, really, again, Brendan, just a one-of-a-kind experience.
Yeah, definitely a special event here for them to be here in Milwaukee. Sarah, Kevin, we're day 3. We've got one more night to go. Of course, the night is the big night. Former President Donald Trump will presumably officially accept his party's nomination to become the official GOP nominee for President of the United States. Once again, we'll have all that and much more coming up tomorrow. But for now, reporting live here in Milwaukee for WZMQ 19 News, I'm Brendan Scanlon. This is Rachel Knapp. Sarah and Kevin, back to you.
Rachel and Brendan, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks for your coverage, guys. And again, Rachel and Brandon will also have a live coverage of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago next month. And with a planned visit from Trump later this week, Grand Rapids is increasing their security at Van Andel Arena. This comes after Saturday's assassination attempt of the former president. Autumn Pitcher reports.
They see something that said, take a look at what happened.
It was a bullet that came too close, nearly taking the life of former President Trump at a crowded Pennsylvania rally.
Things were missed. There was communication gaps. When something happens, it allows us opportunity to reevaluate everything and make sure that we're doing the best we can to keep those people safe.
Jason Russell is a former Secret Service agent who tells me changes will be made this time around when former President Trump visits Grand Rapids Saturday. It marks his first public rally appearance since the Republican National Convention, where he showed up with a bandaged ear, raising his fist just as he did that